Raids, protest, politics. No end to Didi versus ED. ED fires explosive charges. ED says Mamata Hindered probe. TMC alleges constitutional breach. Charges, counter charges. Who crossed the line?
All right, the Enforcement Directorate now has approached the top court of the country, seeking a CBI probe against Mamata in raids on IPAC in an alleged money laundering case. Officials claim that they were restrained, they were threatened by the Bengal authorities. TMC has also filed a caveat in the top court alleging what the TMC calls a constitutional breach.
Raids, resistance, and a court battle. The Enforcement Directorate has moved the Supreme Court, accusing West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee of directly obstructing a central probe during a raid linked to her party's poll strategist, IPAC. In explosive allegations before the top court, the ED claims the Chief Minister and the state's top police officer barged into the raid site, interrupted the search and derailed the investigation. The ED alleges that TMC attempted to hijack High Court proceedings and organized a ruckus using TMC WhatsApp groups. Investigators further claim the Chief Minister forcibly took away ED seized laptops, mobile phones and documents. The agency also alleges its officers were restrained, threatened and slapped with multiple FIRs to intimidate them. The ED says this was not spontaneous outrage, but an organized effort to obstruct a money laundering probe. But the Trinamool Congress has hit back, filing a caveat in the Supreme Court. TMC alleges violations of Article 19 and 21, citing breach of privacy and free and fair elections. The party claims malified use of PMLA powers, accuses the ED of interfering in the 2026 West Bengal Assembly polls, and argues there is no nexus between the seized data and money laundering. TMC also alleges seizures were carried out without notice or legal justification. As the battle shifts to the Supreme Court, the political war explodes.
ED और CBI ये मोदी जी ने गठित की क्या? जब ममता जी भी शासन में रही होंगी तब भी ED रही होगी ना. ED और CBI कोई इनपुट मिलता है तब कार्रवाई करते हैं. संवैधानिक पदों पे बैठे व्यक्ति अगर जो हमारी जांच एजेंसियां हैं उस पे अनर्गल आरोप लगाएंगे तो ये देश हित में भी नहीं है, लोकतंत्र के हित में भी नहीं है.
ED CBI এর সাথে বা এরা যে ভাষায় বোঝে আমি বলবো মমতা বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায় সঠিক ভাষায় জবাব দিয়েছে. যেমন এখানে এত নেতা আপনারা দেখেছেন যারা গেছে সবার রাস্তা ক্লিয়ার. ডবল ইঞ্জিন সরকার, মানে এখানেও চুরি করবে আর দিল্লিতেও চুরি করবে.
With the ED and the Bengal government now locked in legal battles, the Supreme Court becomes the next arena. What began as a raid has turned into a constitutional and political showdown. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, the battle now going to be fought in the top court of the country. What political implications will this particular battle have on the politics of West Bengal, poised to go to election in the next 2 years, in the next 2 months, I beg your pardon. All our panelists this evening will get a 2-minute time to put their point forward. Joining me, Shikha Mukherjee, political commentator, Sanju Verma, national spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party, Manojit Mondal, political analyst. I'd like to begin with Shikha Mukherjee. Shikha Mukherjee, the fact is, Mamata Banerjee has made this or is trying very hard to leverage it into political opportunity. And one can only go back to the song that has been released for the campaign, which is, of course, surrounded, with the rhetoric of the central agencies and the Prime Minister and the Home Minister trying to intervene in the state of affairs of Bengal. How do you see this pan out?
I think it's very interesting that first and foremost there is this uncanny coincidence that in a lot of states we have seen this, and therefore the coincidence doesn't really happen. This is something which has become, at least in the public perception, certainly in the opposition's political perception, the pattern of doing things in the last 10, 15 years, which is that you have an ED raid and then there's an election. Having said that, Mamata is, of course, going hammer and tongs for this perception. She is working on the basis that this perception is not a perception, but it is exactly how things work. In fact, this is the reality. This is a fact for her. So she's gone hammer and tongs at it. And look at the reaction, and it's political. She has taken it to a completely political level. The ED has been shunted out of the picture. The BJP has been brought in, and the ED can file its own cases in the Supreme Court that doesn't really register politically. And therefore, what is going to happen? The fight is on the streets. Mamata hit the streets. Mamata made a point, and the fight is, according to her, between the BJP and the Trinamool over who shall be the representative regime in Bengal. And this is a fight that's been going on for the last 10 years. So I think it's for Mamata at least, it's a political thing. How the BJP handles it is to be seen, because the BJP is now required to go in for some kind of damage limitation.
All right, okay. I want to bring in Manojit Mondal. Manojit Mondal, the sheer fact, what happened once again, and we hark back into the events of last week, was unprecedented. You have somebody, and many would suggest that it's a little ironic that, it's the constitution that the TMC is invoking in its plea to the top court of the country, but the sheer fact that Mamata Banerjee, who herself holds a constitutional post, came in the way of a central agency dispensing its duty. That, in effect, is huge, Manojit Mondal.
I think what Mamata did was definitely within the purview of law. When a central agency is misusing law, and this is quite apparent from what they have been doing for the last 10 years, as an elected chief minister, though she did not go as a chief minister, she went as the chairperson of the political party. So when the ED, almost functioning as the election department of BJP, I think what Mamata did was absolutely right. She had got every right to resist those thieves who came with the intent of stealing. If you look at the FIR that has been filed against the ED, there's a charge of theft is very much clear. It was no way investigation. It was just before the eve of election. They wanted to create this kind of havoc among the young students, among the young scholars who have been working, who are still working in that particular company, which is also working as a kind of long arm of the party because it is contracted with all in the Trinamool Congress. I think this move was absolutely, justified. Because we have seen how ED has functioned. You've seen also the kind of conviction rate that ED had. If you look at the conviction of ED in the last 10 years, it's abysmal, not even 0.5%. Whereas if you look at the way the opposition leaders are targeted, almost 98% of the cases are against the opposition leader. That's data for you. And even the 2% cases which are not against the opposition leaders, whereby the people who have been in different political party, they have shifted to BJP. So there is no raid against Bindu Adhikari, no raid against Hemanta Biswa Sharma, no raid against Ajit Pawar, where you have
Okay, your
cases
time
with
is up,
no.
sir. By the virtue of the fact, Mamata Banerjee could have leveraged that politically after the raid had taken place and the central agency was allowed to do its job. You could have used the same argument later. But what an individual who holds a constitutional post has done is created something which was a very dangerous precedent. That is a charge, and that charge is valid. Monojit Mondal, I'll come back to you. I want to bring in Sanju Verma into this conversation. Sanju Verma, I'll take you back, because what's happened right now on the streets of Kolkata is that this issue is emotive. It's become political for the TMC, and one only needs to look at the latest or the first campaign song of the TMC, where it's less about central agencies, it's about control of Prime Minister Modi, of Amit Shah and the BJP. She's again pitched that battle which she had pitched in 2021. If you remember in 2021, Sanju Verma, you and I used to debate on television channels. If you remember, she had that plaster, she hurt her foot, she leveraged it politically. This is something she looks to do and milk where politics is concerned. Question is, does the BJP have an answer to it?
Preeti, first and foremost, let's get one thing very clear. The ED is not standing on trial. Let's be very clear that Mamata Banerjee has not covered herself in glory. I can't think of another instance in recent times where a chief minister goes to an investigation site, tries to decamp with the electronic and physical evidence, and then has the audacity to play victim. And the entire Damari ecosystem and the TMC ecosystem, BJP cared about leaving. BJP spent share in the election of 2021, Lok Sabha 2024, in Bengal, we had a vote share of 39% plus. So I don't think BJP needs to explain about its political heft. And let me remind Mamata Banerjee, from barely 3 elections, our stand went up 77.
I'm going to freeze your time, Sanju Verma. I'm going to give you that 1 minute later. And the reason I'm doing so is there's something terribly wrong with your audio. We can barely hear you. Can we do an audio check with Sanju Verma and come back to her? I want to bring in Shikha Mukherjee back into this conversation. Shikha Mukherjee, nobody can take away the fact. All legal experts would argue that, maybe she acted in an emotional moment, and it's Mamata Banerjee, she's known to be mercurial, and she acted as a party chief and less as a chief minister. But the fact is she is a chief minister, and that is a constitutional post. She did come in the way of a central agency trying to dispense its duty. This is setting a very dangerous precedent in the times that we live in, where in any case, there is massive trust deficit. Do you think the people of West Bengal might look at it differently, or do you think it's once again a pitched battle with the center?
See, it's a pitched battle with the center at every level. Because if you look at the ED is not an agency which has a great deal of credibility. I have written this, so I can say it. It doesn't have credibility. The Supreme Court has made various observations about how the ED functions. And it does. And as a nation, we should be very conscious that the ED is not the most respected of institutions, not an institution that doesn't indulge in overreach, doesn't do things. Therefore, it's Mamata Banerjee's image versus her politics versus the ED's image. Now, in the eyes of the law, obviously, what she has done is probably overreaction. She has probably violated some parts of the law. But let's face it, will a Supreme Court ask Mamata Banerjee in election season to come and give her a deposition in court as to why she did it? Is this not creating politically more opportunities for Mamata to take on the BJP as the evil monster of the center? A theme which is said repeatedly, and a theme that resonates in Bengal, because the center is something that the population of Bengal, the voters in Bengal, the people of Bengal don't really trust very much. So you have, it's a very, very interesting situation. The more the ED says, the more Mamata is going to leverage it. The more she's going to make noise about it. Therefore, how this damage is to be limited? The courts can litigate, it will go on. What else is going to happen? The court is not going to intervene in election process, nor is it going to sort of put a leash on her on the kind of campaign she runs. Therefore, politically,
Ma'am, your time is up. I want to bring in Manojit Mandal, and we're going to try and connect back to Sanju Verma. But Manojit Mandal, keep away the politics from what is the legal framework of this country. The Enforcement Directorate is very clear. The charges are very grave. And the charges, to remind our viewers, is funneling of scam loot, which is coal scam loot as per the Enforcement Directorate, funneling of those funds through IPAC, which is a consulting agency, political agency, consulting with the TMC, funneling it through that consultancy into the elections of Goa, which were fought by the TMC last time. The charges are grave. One might say, or TMC might seem to suggest that this is that election happened 4 or 5 years ago. But having said that, the sheer fact that till date you have an Abhishek Banerjee who continues to receive notices, which he thumbs his nose on, connected to the coal scam by the Enforcement Directorate and the CBI. The Enforcement Directorate is very clear that they're trying to close a loop in which you're trying to, or the TMC is trying to politicize the issue.
When was the case registered? It's 27 November 2020. It's nearly over 5.5 years ago. And at that point of time, you had the principal accused by the name of Anup Maji in your custody for maybe for 3 years. So you didn't wake up before January 2026. You had to wake up only just 2 months before the election. And how many times Mr. Abhishek Banerjee was summoned? At least a dozen times. What happened? Nothing. Absolutely zero, apart from the kind of malicious campaign that you had to run against Mr. Abhishek Banerjee, and even his family. His family members were even caught. I mean, remember during that COVID time when Abhishek Banerjee's youngest children went to Delhi just to attend the ED summons? I mean, this is nothing but a political vendetta on the part of the central government. I mean, had the ED been functioning really as a neutral agency, the probe would have gone. I mean, and what kind of logic is this, Preeti? That you are saying virtually that there is a scam and all the incriminating documents are stored in that particular public office? Is this the logic that it is giving? I mean, come on. I mean, rather, this is an office which is known to everyone that is functions for the TMC. IT cell is run from this particular building. TMC's SIR campaign is happening from this particular building. So you actually came to steal documents before the election, and probably that's the simple reason that the charge of that is there. And what happened to other cases? I want to know. So a very interesting case is Mr. Rajiv Kumar. You talk about the same kind of analogy, you bring same kind of analogy. What happened to Rajiv Kumar? Except the kind of malicious campaign that you ran against Mr. Rajiv Kumar, nothing has happened. Rather, you have maligned one of the brightest police officers in this country. 5, 6, 7 years have passed.
All right, Manojit Mandal, your time is up. You know, once again, I'll say the same thing, Manojit Mandal. All of this can be used as arguments. Your protest on the streets is bona fide and is constitutionally sound. But to barge in a building by the chief minister of a state just doesn't cut it when a central agency is carrying out a probe. I want to bring in Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, you have 1 more minute, then your 2 minutes. You get 3 minutes to put your point forward. Does the BJP have the answer to the politics that is going to now being played at the back of it? Nobody does it better, where there's Mamata Banerjee to turn an adversary into an advantage and milk it politically.
You know, Preeti, I could barely speak. I think in all fairness, you should give me 4 minutes. You know, the moment I started, there was some audio glitch. I think it's 4 minutes. Please be fair. And I'm sure you will. So my 4 minutes start now. First and foremost, let me get one thing very clear for your audience. Mamata Banerjee has disdain and contempt for every democratic institution in this country. To your audience, I demand that under section 228, 231, 235, 238 and 241 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanghita, Mamata Banerjee should be arrested for stealing electronic and physical evidence. Mamata Banerjee should be tried for obstructing public officials from doing their duty, and Mamata Banerjee should be arrested for trying to defame a statutory body like the Enforcement Directorate, and she has done it repeatedly. Point number 2. You know, people who say, oh, the BJP is scared of Mamata Banerjee. The BJP had 3 seats in 2016. We won 77 seats from Bengal in 2021. That's a 2,467% rise. We had 41% vote share in Lok Sabha 2019 from Bengal. We had a 38% vote share in 2021 assembly elections in Bengal. And even in Lok Sabha 2024, we had a 39.08% vote share from West Bengal. So the BJP is not scared of anybody. And for anybody who says that the ED has a very poor conviction rate, the ED has a conviction rate of 94.7%. And I want to tell Shikha Mukherjee, if you want to come on a debate, please say you are a TMC supporter. Don't sit here as a political commentator. You can't seem to find anything wrong with the Trinamool Congress or with the Mamata Banerjee style of sarak chhap politics. No, Preeti, I have been listening to a lot of gibberish from TMC netas. And let me tell through your show, the likes of Mahua Moitra. The fact of the matter is, Mahua Moitra is the same lady who actually sold her moral fabric for a bottle of Chanel perfume and a pair of Ferragamo heels by selling her parliamentary login and password to a businessman seated in Dubai. And Mahua Moitra then has the audacity to lecture BJP and the Enforcement Directorate on integrity and ethics. Kahan se aate hain ye log? The other question, why is BJP supporting the ED? Why should we not? The Enforcement Directorate comes under the Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance, Government of India. If you attack the Enforcement Directorate, you attack the Modi government. As the national spokesperson of BJP, I have every right to come on national television and defend the institutions of the country which are being maligned by so-called political commentators and so-called political analysts who do not even have the courage to say that they are actually closet TMC empathizers. Now let me come to the moot point of the debate. The moot point of the debate, Preeti, is this. Eastern Coal
Ma'am, your time
Fields
is up.
Limited-
Your time is up. I think we gave you 4. I'll check with my... Okay, 3 minutes are over. I'll give you one more. You have 10 seconds. Shikha Mukherjee, do you want to come in? Because there are charges that have been laid
Preeti,
at you. I'll come back to you, madam, for your 1 minute in the end. Shikha Mukherjee, you have 10 seconds to answer.
I'm entertained by them for the simple reason that I know exactly where my sympathies lie politically. I'm not, and that is a private matter which I'm not going to discuss in public.
No, fair point. Okay, entertained by them. All right, one last minute. Sanju Verma, as promised, you have, everyone gets equal time. You have 1 more minute, and then we close the show.
You are not being fair. I said 4 minutes. You gave me.
Ma'am, you spoke uninterrupted. Now you're losing your time. You spoke uninterrupted for 3 minutes. I'm giving you 1 more. Go back and look at your timer. You're wasting time. Make your point.
Please start my timer now, not at 46 seconds. I'm sorry.
Madam, you are using this time to argue with me. Please use it. I have another debate. Please use it.
So let me just say this. If Shikha Mukherjee is entertained by me, I'm amused by her histrionics and theatrics. And I will say this. Money stolen from Eastern coal fields was sold to factories of Deepak Agarwal of Shakambari Ispat. The money of Shakambari Ispat was funneled via Hawala channels by IPAC. IPAC is the long and extended arm of Trinamool Congress. The president of Trinamool Congress is a lady called Mamata Banerjee. And if still Shikha Mukherjee, Mahua Moitra, Derek O'Brien cannot see that there is Hawala funding, money laundering happening, there is something seriously wrong with this entire TMC Darbari
Okay,
ecosystem.
their time is up. I'm going to leave it at that. I appreciate all 3 of you for joining us. Thank you so much. Things are only going to get hotter in days to come. Let's just hope that it doesn't get as big as it has.